You're one of the exceptions.
Yeah, but I think, if we can do things together as a church to reach the people that are around us locally as a church, it will draw us closer together at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we worked on a project together, and I just want to give kudos to, I think, 5 or 6 people that came out last Sunday and helped organize the kitchen and did a great job. But when you work together for 2 or 3 hours like that, it's not necessarily a bonding experience, but you get a chance to visit, and it's a way of connecting. And so whether you're serving yourselves, like we were last Sunday, or whether you're serving the community, you're rubbing shoulders, you're doing stuff. I told you about the book drive that United Way did. I'll get to you in a second, Holly. But we cleaned 56,000 books in the course of, I don't know, a week or 10 days, and passed those books out to kids in the Treasure Valley. And we were just reflecting Thursday afternoon, we had a little post-book drive hoo-ha, and we were just kind of sharing some stories and things like that. And that's what came up again and again and again, is the ability to rub shoulders with people that you wouldn't necessarily rub shoulders with. And you're doing an activity, but you're visiting while you're doing that. And I think, back to what Don was saying earlier about some of the activities that we did, and I've thought about this since, again, I knew we were going to have this conversation today. And I'm thinking to myself, some of the things that we did as an experience early on when we first started, and even before we launched, that in my mind, even today, 11, 12 years later, I'm thinking, what benefit did we have to the community? And in some of those things, I think very little. And it may be a little name recognition, I'm not sure, but it became an event where we got together and had fun together as a group, and yet it was a service type project. And so it wasn't we were just sitting around playing bingo, we were actually doing something and having fun together. And I think a combination of those kinds of things and also doing projects where you're really serving some population or some group of people, I think is part of what can help with that connecting and help define who the community is. Holly?
I was going to talk about the small group ministries that we have had. I know that there's at least still one group, Jack and Debbie have a dinner thing that they get together with a certain number of people on a Friday evening. I don't know if there's any other groups. There used to be a table game group or a Bible study group. And then we have also hosted, at least we've hosted Financial Peace University one time, and that did draw from the community. I don't know if we've hosted more than once, but
Yeah,
those kind of things. I
are
know our numbers have dwindled a little bit to where the 20% that actually do something are already stretched too thin. But
one of the comments that came pretty loudly out of our discussion at the campout was the community and who that was. And Luke, you were kind of alluding to that too. It's like, who is the community? And it's really important, I think, for us to remember both internal and external, and dealing with our members, spiritual health, mental, physical, financial, all of those things. So financial peace and others come into play there. And making sure that we're strong so we can go out. Sometimes the events can be dual purpose, and it can help us and help others too. Rochelle?
So this is kind of like just a thought out there. This isn't a good, bad, or whatever. But when we're looking at that community, our church here, a lot of times we do say, okay, do our neighbors know who we are? Have they gotten out into our community? Do they even know we exist? One thing to think about, I think, as we are looking at what the community is, as we're reaching out to these people, who of us can actually continue to build those relationships with those people because of where we live? And so that's just something I think we need to keep in mind, is I live clear on the other end of Caldwell, so creating a relationship with somebody in this neighborhood who we've drawn in is going to be very difficult for me. I mean, it may be easy for somebody else, But I think that's just something we have to keep in mind too.
Well, we need to be thinking about ways that maybe we can affect our neighbors at the church as well as our neighbors at home then.
And, well, I've met a lot of people, I'll just go up and start talking to people all the time, I mean, I'm a sanguine and and a lot of people hear about the experience, they know about it because of KTSY, they'll sit there and, oh, that's that Experience Church, huh? And a lot of people are contemporary, they go to Calvary Baptist or whatever that have the same contemporary stuff. And one of the reasons they put this in the middle, or in Merdian, because it's middle of the whole valley, the Merdian is. So, your neighbor is somebody clear over in the other side up by 21 or Micron or clear over in Caldwell to go to the Experience. There's nothing for them people. If they want to go, they'll go because they go to work every day from Kenyon County to Boise.
And we all drive
Yeah,
to get here.
that's what I mean. So that's our neighbors.
Right. Yes.
I'm Jamie, I'm the new kid on the block here.
Hi, Jamie.
Well, he's newer.
My understanding is that a few years ago, this church was involved with Love Inc., Love in the Name of Christ, which is an organization that reaches out to the community. I'm very intricately involved with that organization right now. We have 80 churches that work with them, and there are no Adventist churches represented at all. And it's an amazing community outreach. It's not an emergency service, but for what they do, and each one of the individual churches has a specific function. And I know Lois would love to come and talk.
Okay.
What's it do? What's the...
That
The Love
kind of
Inc.
gets back to the visioning again, though, of how we carry out our mission, which I think, and I know a little bit about Love Inc., but I think that probably if we're just going to stay close to that as a mission statement, would fit well. Yeah. Debbie?
I think the one thing I want to say when we talk about as a church and our small community things we've been doing, yes, Jack and I still do have that going, but I want to say Ken and Michelle see it branched off. And we still have new people coming in and out, small, and I really want to encourage more to open their homes and do it one night. Because we had people coming in that would never have come, and they live everywhere. They live in Merdian, and they come to church even if it's once or twice. And I really wish people would still, I don't care if it's 4 people that come every single time. You'll still bring people in. Rochelle and Ken now have branched off. They'll do a different age group, a different area. And I just encourage our church family to please do it.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up, and a couple of people have mentioned small groups, and a couple of weeks ago I had 2 different people talk to me within like 2 days of each other about the need, that their feeling of a need within our church organization to be more active in small groups, to have more things going on during the week so that it's not just, like Don said, we meet here on Saturdays and then we don't see each other again until the next Saturday. But what can we do during the week to help ourselves and to help each other, and maybe even take on some kind of an outreach project within that small group, so that we have small groups that are active in the community as well as part of our church body. Rochelle, and then I can come back. Or Cindy. Somebody had their hand up over here. Rochelle was smiling at me.
Oh!
Yeah.
No, I'm going to lose my train of thought. No, I think everybody who comes to this church is looking for something that's not normal. And I think
Well, they found that.
and we have a things to different people. And I think that where we're heading, where we're talking about our mission, I think that still fits us because we really do want to enjoy each other as well as our community. We're having a hard time getting all the healing, I think, out of our system. You know, I think we kind of forget that we still have to take care of others besides ourselves when we're here. And we come from all different parts of the valley simply because we know that we can find this acceptance here that we may not have seen other places. And I love that about this church, these people. I mean, I come here from a distance too, to enjoy this kind of community. And I think we need to continue to make, I think church is our main focus. And I think continuing to build that and loving on people as they are here helps us to grow. And then finding a mission that's external to that to help us help others
Okay.
would be a great way to complete that process.
So
of
internal and
mission statement.
external. Okay. Debbie?
I think the one thing I noticed about small groups when we talked about it, I never really saw the big, okay? I was not sold on it, to where I have a different attitude now. Because not all of us know what everybody's doing. And you don't know when all the things that happened before. When you're a small group, you know, when Jack and I went through the problems we did, our support, not that our church didn't support us, but our support came really from in that group.
Right.
I mean, they were there. It wasn't that somebody wouldn't have been there. We meet, we're there. We become an intimate family. And that doesn't mean I don't love anybody else here, and they're not intimate, but it does change, and that's not a bad thing. That's why I've always said I wish more would do it, because we take care of each other. We can become that.
Yeah, my daughter lives in Salt Lake, and she and her husband attend a church there that home churches is the big thing, and they have a set night during the week on Wednesday nights that's home church night. But that can, I mean, they just dictated that can be flexible, but I'd like to hear from the fringes on the two edges. So I know our losses are visitors, but if you guys have some input about our mission, I'd love to hear it. Yvonne?
Just speaking about small groups, I was reflecting on my own experience as a member of small groups just, in the past 30 years or so. And I have thought of this before, not just this moment, but I think that of the times in my life, of all of my experiences, where I've grown the most spiritually, it was when I was in a small group of between 5 and 10 people that we met weekly. And it might have been temporary, may have only lasted a few months, may have been something that went on for a couple of years, but I just think that the spiritual growth that I experienced was not matched in any other kind of experience. Certainly studying the Bible on your own is good, and it's, a growth experience also, but it's not just social connection, but you have that spiritual growth when you feel accountable, oh boy, I've got to read these chapters, so I don't look like an idiot next Tuesday night. Just that accountability and other people's experiences coming to the table, people's impact, people's perspective on the verses that you're studying. So I really agree with Debbie in that those small group study sessions can be